Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm a tester for 29eronline.com, and this is my review of the 2012 Rocky Mountain 970. I'd like to talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, and ultimately who should ride the bike. The first thing I want to talk about are the strengths about the bike. This bike is very agile, very responsive, it's quick, accelerates incredibly fast, it's quick on wheel spin up. Great climber. This is the first bike where I felt that it is very close to what I would consider a dually as you could get to a hard suspension or a hard tail bike. And what I mean by that specifically is, it's very hard to compare the two when climbing. That's the comparison I like to use. And this bike, I mean, it really conquers a hill. When you want to get up it fast, it's going to do it, whatever power you put down translate to power to the rear wheel. The next thing I'd like to talk about are the weaknesses of the bike. And I'm going to do this into two categories, specifically one about how it rides, and then I have one component I would like to critique, just a problem that I inherited, or not inherited, but saw when I was riding the bike. First, I'm going to talk specifically about the actual riding. This bike is very fast, okay, so that's a plus, but the drawback to that is, this is not a downhiller's bike. It is responsive, nimble, gobbles up a lot of bumps, but however, you start encountering some real fast technical descents, you can get down it, but it's not a comfortable ride. It's a little bit sketchy at times because that rear wheel, yes, it does track, but when you start taking on multiple bumps, it likes to break loose. And it's not that it's squirrely or loose or all over the place, but it doesn't track as good as, per se, a downhill bike obviously would. But it can be a little bit uncomfortable if you're, if that's not your preference. For me, I was okay with it because that's what I like to do. Sometimes I want to take it to that edge, but I wouldn't suggest it for everybody. So I see that as a drawback. Now, the component that I have a problem with on that particular bike was in dealing with the through axle with the front fork, the RockShox. It's on a 15mm through axle that has a flange on it. So you use the flange to tighten and loosen and hold essentially the lever in place. Well, when you're tightening and loosening, if you slip for any reason you're really not paying attention, you can crush or bend that flange, and it becomes a hazard in multiple ways. One, it's a hazard in a safety issue that now you got to worry about injury to yourself. Two, it could become a performance issue because that's part of the locking mechanism for that flange. And I'm not saying that it's terrible, but it's something that as a rider you need to be concerned with, because if it's happened to me, and I have ridden for years, consider myself familiar with the product, then somebody who's not probably wouldn't, would want to be very cautious about that. Now I'd like to discuss who I think should buy the bike. I think this bike wholeheartedly is designed for the racer, or somebody that wants to conquer the trail the fastest. The guy that is the aggressive rider, always pushing it to the, the envelope right to the edge. If you want to go out there and spend, 20 hours, 3 days a week, just long trail rides, this bike isn't for you. The bike or the rider that it's for is going to be that aggressive to racer style person, somebody that really wants to go fast, somebody that's not going to ever want to let up, because that bike's going to outrun your potential. Not it's not going to be the other way around. You're never going to beat that bike. That's how I feel about it.